Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Tuesday. Um, pretty pretty nice day actually. Not gonna lie. I think yesterday stuff was feeling a bit grim at the open. I think I don't know. We started to rebound. I think by the time I did the stream yesterday, but it's the bid has continued. Nasdaq right now is up. Let's bring the charts up. It's up 2.2%, 2.4%. It's a big move. It's a big old move. Yeah, it's a nice gap higher. The S&P 500 is up 1.2%. This is a new all-time high, right? Is this a new all-time high for stocks? Yeah, that is a new all-time high. Happy new all-time high for the S&P 500. Interesting, notable lag of Nasdaq. That could be. Could that be a catch-up trade? I don't know. It's it's a funny situation because I'm not. The book's doing all right today. I'm not fully risked. I'm not all in. But I do have some risk on, which is nice. I think this is why you've always got to have something on. It feels like, generally speaking, when I've been cautious on stocks for a long time, but I added risk last week in the dip just because that's how I am. I can't not buy dips, and I've got some risk on into the events that we spoke about this week. But it's one of these situations where, like, if I was flat stocks here, I would be like, "Fuck, this is a painful move higher." I think. Luckily, I'm not. I'm not as big as I would be if I predicted this move. Let's put it that way. If I predicted this move was going to happen in these 2 days, I'm not as big as I would like to be. But at least I have some risk on, and benefiting from some of the gains. Memory has been really strong. If we look at Sandisk report earnings tomorrow, but this is annoying. Well, we'll just have to have that chat GPT flag at the top. I'm running like 7 different things on all my AI agents right now, so sorry for that little note at the top there. But yeah, look, Sandisk up 8.5%. Even Micron's starting to move again today, 6.5%. Maybe, just maybe, I was right on AI stuff having a bigger move after such situational awareness, and we just needed to have that day to resolve itself, or for Citadel to sell the leftover risk. But some really big moves today. Nebius is, I swapped this into Micron, which was a bad trade. I should have kept Nebius because it's outperformed, but that's very strong as well. Even I think Shaz has underperformed the whole market, which I'm not surprised about, but it's off the lows. So, I think that all of this makes Sandisk numbers on Wednesday very interesting because the market's bid. Memory names are bid now. All this stuff. Look how far it's down. All this stuff is down massively, and the big overhang has gone, and clearly people are buying these names again. So there is a chance that if we do have good numbers, it finally reacts positively. What's to say? We bought this on. Did I buy this on stream? I think I bought this on stream at like 1,000, right? This is what we were talking about when you have to buy when you shit yourself. So we're now up 40% almost on SanDisk, and I think I put in about 100K around these levels. So it's a pretty good return, this isn't a 10x return like you get in crypto, but this is SanDisk. It's not going to just gap to zero. It's a real company, multi-$100 billion company, and it's up 40% in a week. Like, you could fucking take that, I think. That's been a good trade, and like I said, we don't need it to jump from here to all-time highs, but what's to say it can't jump from here to here or from here to here? But anyway, I should probably take some off here, but the trade was I'm going to be long into earnings, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it because it still feels to me like the upside into earnings is bigger than the downside if they have good numbers now. There's clearly momentum and tailwind behind all these names. Technical overhang from situational awareness is gone. I'm pretty long the memory sector. Let's see. Sandisk, that position is now worth 140k. Originally put in 100k. Micron is worth 180, so that takes us to what, 320, and then we have SK Hynix at 230. So about $550,000 in spot of memory names, which I like that. That's a meaty amount of memory risk, and I think if we have good Sandisk numbers, that entire space will move higher. Sandisk will be the leader because it is the highest rated name actually out of all of them, the lowest market cap name. But I think you'll see Micron move. SK Hynix is, Korea is just trading like arse right now. Korea's trading shit. Look at that massive wick we saw on that today as well. This is my biggest position in memory because I feel like it's the one that's underperformed the most, and I'm just geared towards doing that kind of trade. It just seems like this should correct. But it's a different market, US market's big, the Korean market clearly isn't. We had that big move higher one day, but I don't know, I still feel like this can snap higher. I was surprised to not see this move higher overnight given the moves we saw yesterday. I think with the moves we're seeing today, if we close at the highs, you have to see SK Hynix move at least 10%, I would think. Now, what's the move on Hyperliquid? Hyperliquid is up only 6.5%. This is probably a good trade because this is what happened last time. On Thursday, SK Hynix was only up 6.5% on Hyperliquid. And memory names were ripping. Memory names are now higher than where they were, by the way, on Thursday in the US. And then the next day, SK Hynix was printed like a 30% candle. So I would be, if I wasn't already long SK Hynix, I would be buying this here, I think. I think that's a good trade. Probably what Mando's doing. Matt, is that what you're doing, Mando? Should I ask him? I think he's got these little grid bots on this stuff. So, yeah, I think that's a good trade. If this stuff closes at the highs today, you got to think you see a bigger move in SK Hynix. Maybe it's being a bit tepid ahead of Sandisk numbers, but if Sandisk numbers are good, this thing is gonna go a lot higher. I think this is high beta as well. This will probably move like Sandisk. I read somewhere 18%, 19% implied volatility in Sandisk numbers. I wonder if that's changed now given the move, but I think that's going to move a lot. So yeah, still bullish memory here. I am going to take, I'm not going to make the same mistake that I've kept making. Where I haven't been taking profits. So, but I am going to run it. I'm going to just run the trade, which is what I wanted to do. So I could take some profits here. We're all up and stuff, but I'm going to run the trade, which is the long memory trade into Sandisk numbers. And regardless of what happens after earnings, I'm going to take some profits. I'll probably take partial profits if the numbers are really good, because I think the move will be higher. And, I'm going to close the position if numbers are bad, basically. That's the play, I think. But I need to start monetizing some of these gains. If numbers are good, I'm going to have like a 50 to 100k P&L day. And I've had multiple days like that where I've just left that P&L unrealized and then I've just given it all back in marks the next day. So I need to, I want to start monetizing these wins. Make 100k in a day. It's pretty good. If you can do that a few days a month, you're having a good month, right? So I need to make sure I'm doing that. So let's see what happens. So today we also have SpaceX numbers, which are coming after the market close. SpaceX is doing well too. Man, I was speaking yesterday about doubling up on this risk. I didn't do it. I was waiting to see how the market would be today, and obviously I waited too long because Yeah, we were talking about doing that trade when it was at around 108. We're now at 119. This is up a lot. But it's okay. I have 132k now worth of risk in SpaceX. So my stop position is now worth 120k, up a good amount on that. Average price of 108.78. This call option I bought has been a good trade. Shame I'm not bigger in it, but it's hard with something that's such a short call. But I bought that at 3.5. That's now 5.6. All these trades, by the way, if you're a Rekt Mkts Pro subscriber, you get these live trades. As soon as I do the trades, they get posted in our Discord. And this dashboard is updated live. So I think some people tailed me on these trades. So congrats on making money, I guess, so far, but it's not yet realized. But yeah, if you want to find out how to join that, just go to markets.rekt.com/join and you can see what you get for being pro. But all these trades that I do are posted live on pro, basically. But yeah, this could be interesting too now. This is bid. People are either covering short. I'm guessing they're covering shorts into numbers here. I wonder what the short interest is now of SpaceX. Let's have a look. SPCX. %26 short interest of float. Fucking hell. That's big. Wow. Is that right? 26% short interest. That's massive. Let's have a look at short interest. I mean, I got that number from Bloomberg, which should be... Yeah, fuck. Wow. That's interesting. I mean, this is presumably a... So, it's very high. However, maybe there's some delta neutral stuff going on here with people who have locked up positions, just shorting it into numbers. That could be the case. Probably seeing a short covering bid here, but that's very high. Even now, on the day before numbers, 25% short interest is very high on SpaceX. That's quite interesting. This, to me, is sort of playing out. SpaceX is sort of playing out like how we said it would, right? We said it would rally into numbers, into the unlock, which is exactly what it's doing. I think we've had a good call on that. And I think this could be interesting post numbers. Man, just give us some good numbers. Give us some good earnings. Make a good announcement, Elon. Like, strong announcement right now and good numbers. This with a 25% short interest. This thing could fucking squeeze aggressively. Like, very quickly. Like, this could easily print a 20% candle. I think it has done in the past, right? And that would be sweet. That would be very good for the position, mainly for this call position. Just to show you how much that would be worth. Let's whack this question to Claude. I wonder if I can just share this with you guys so you can see it. Let's have a look. Add. Window capture. Claude. Aha. Okay. There we go. I think you guys can see that. I don't think I have any sensitive information on here. Let me move this down here. Okay, so let's move this. Oops. All right, so I own. This is what I do, by the way. You can, if you're an options trader, you can probably like calculate this stuff in your head, but I don't see why you wouldn't just whack everything into Claude. So I own this, currently trading at 5.42. My cost is 3.52. These are call options. These are short call options. 130 strike. They expire on the 7th of August, which is that Friday? It must be Friday. And stock is currently at 118. If it prints a 20% candle on earnings tonight, how much will these calls be worth tomorrow? And there's a few factors into this, right? Because there's still a few days until expiry. So you have some theta factors. You have obviously volatility factors into the price. Obviously the stock price factors into the prices. There's multiple different factors of what affects call prices. You have to really understand the concept of convexity in this stuff too. So maybe that explaining how call options work and options in general work is maybe a session for another time. But the way I'm using them and kind of viewing them is like, I know, how, if you buy an option, you know how much you can lose, right? My cost is about $9,000. I spent $9,000 on buying options. So if they expire worthless, I can't lose more than $9,000. And if the price is not above 130 and I haven't sold them by expiry, then I will lose all that $9,000. So here we go. All right, this is what we want. Perfect. So I think this is what we want to look at. This doesn't quite look right to me. Oh, I guess it is right because of the prices now. So even if we move to like 129, which is higher, but it doesn't breach 130 by the end of Friday, then it will expire worthless. But I guess the idea is like if we hit 129, 125, 130, and there's still 2 or 3 days to go, you have some time to go higher, and that's kind of why you can buy it for that price. But yeah, like 20% candle means the stock's at 141.60. It means it's in the money. That would imply a call value of almost $12, and that's like a 240% return. So you can see this gives you an idea of how, and look, if it's down 20%, 94, it's out the money. It's basically going to be down 100%. So this shows you like the convexity of this instrument. You really have to understand, like, it's worth reading about options and understanding the idea of implied volatility, understanding the impact of theta, and the time value of money, and probably start trading the stuff in like really small size. It's hard to trade at small size because I think you can't buy partial options. You can only buy one option. You can only buy whole options. And each option is each options contract is usually 100 shares. But once you start trading it, you sort of get a sense for like how this stuff can move, which is quite interesting. Actually, the one thing I've done well, I haven't done many things very well in this book, but the one thing I have done well is I've made money on pretty much every options trade I've done with pretty good returns, and I've done well at monetizing them. So I'm going to kind of keep doing more of it. I don't know if there's an edge in doing it, but it just feels like when you take good bets, you can take quite good capped downside. My downside is $9,000. Upside is unlimited. But then you have to, find what the probability of each one is happening and what the price implies there. But yeah, good numbers and a 20% candle would take that to $12. That would, from my actual entry point, that's like a 3.5x or something like that, which is pretty good. that nine grand turns into over 30 grand probably. So those are the bets. I like taking those bets, but it's like I'm fine to lose 9 grand, but there's some upside into it, and that upside seems to be playing out. So just kind of trying to I guess I'm trying to explain how that risk trades, how this risk trades here, because my notional here is 14k, my notional here is 120k, but on a 20% candle, I actually am going to make more money on this options position with a smaller capital. I put in 100k into this, I put in 9k into this, but this will move much more aggressively than this will. But obviously, if this is a short call, remember, so if it's wrong and numbers are bad, or if it never really rallied, it can go to zero very, very quickly. Whereas, this could be down 5%, and this could go to zero, right? Because this strike price is still 130. This could actually be unchanged. This could not move at all on earnings, and I would still have the position, and I could just sell it where it is, but this will still go to zero. So you just have to understand how these things move. But the main concept is this concept of convexity, which is what I like doing, what I've always made money on, where if something really positive happens, this thing gets going, then the upside, suddenly this goes from being like, this might be plus or minus 9k, to like, oh shit, the curve of this goes exponentially higher like this, basically. And I like taking those kinds of bets, because if you get more than 50% of them right, you will make a lot more money. If you don't even need to get 50% of them right, because your upside's so big, so you'll make a lot of money if you can play these right. But you have to understand how options work. I think you can't just turn up and try and trade this stuff. Otherwise, you absolutely will do your bollocks. It takes time to understand them. I'm happy to chat about them in the Pro Discord if people have questions. Maybe we'll try and do an explainer. But to be honest with you, if I did an explainer, I think I would give prerequisite readings or videos to watch, so you really understand the basic concepts. I think you should understand the basic concepts of how they work, and then I feel like it makes more sense when I explain how I use them. And if you understand the basic concepts of how they work, then what I just said would make more sense than if you didn't. So I would highly recommend reading up on it, or just watching YouTube videos, or even just chatting to Claude or ChatGPT, because if you're like, okay, I don't get this, stick it in, and it will explain it. And then maybe trade it on a paper account. Don't trade it with real money. Trade it on a paper account, because a lot of options as well, it's understanding the financial concepts and mechanics behind how they work, these derivatives, but it's also getting a feel for and a sense for how something will move. And I think you can only really get a feel and a sense for how it will move if you're trading it, and you're like, okay, I remember how that moved. I remember how I lost money on that. One thing I realized from trading them is you buy something at the beginning of the day, and then by the end of the day, you have that massive, whatever, theta kick in, or whatever it is, when people realize that the market's closed for a few hours, and you wake up and then another whole day has passed. And if you're still out of the money, then your price will take a big hit. And especially over a weekend you have 2 whole days. So if you have a short call or a short put that you own, and it's out of the money, and you get to a Friday morning, if nothing's really happened with the stock price and it's still out of the money, by the time it's the end of the day on Friday, it will move down very aggressively. And I kind of learnt that the hard way a few times. So like if you're trying to, it's almost like if you're trying to buy options, short options, that is, it makes a difference whether it's a short expiry or a long expiry. If it's a long expiry, each day won't make much of a difference, right? But if it's a short expiry, I'm talking like 7 days or less, then each day makes a massive difference. So if you're trying to buy short calls, a good time to buy them is on a Friday towards the end of the day, and that's exactly what I did with the SpaceX. I bought these on Friday towards the end of the day, and I think that allowed me to get a good print. And obviously I was lucky with the stock price too. So yeah, let's see how that goes. I've held on to that Tesla that I bought post earnings, which I didn't quite get the low print of, but that's now come back to being flat. I think I was down almost 8 grand on that position, so that's quite nice to see. Everything's bounced back post the earnings drops. This is the only one that hasn't really bounced back to where it was before. Google, which I sold way too early, has bounced back a lot. Where's Google now? Google, man, Google's at 375. I literally bought this. I bought Google like here, like the low lows, and I sold it like here. It's pretty dumb. Should have held on to that. That was a good trade. But I did rotate it into memory, which is up more, so can't always be mad at yourself on these things. Yeah. So recap and game plan. Waiting to see what happens with SpaceX numbers tonight. I will probably still. I'm gonna look to monetize that tomorrow, given unlocks. I don't really see a world where I don't monetize this tomorrow, this position tomorrow, regardless of what happens. I mean, if there's some crazy positive headline or it's clear there's some crazy momentum, then it might be worth running it one more day. But I still feel like, you know, one day before unlocks is when you're meant to take this trade off, I think. So, you know, whether it's a big win or a loss, I don't know, but I think that's what you're supposed to do. So that's what I'm going to do there. Let's move to crypto. I think you're all thinking what I'm thinking. These guys, these boys need to launch V2. Need to launch V2 because the market's just impatient. You know, people are moving around chasing narrative, chasing attention. This is down 20% from yesterday. We didn't get a V2 announcement yesterday. Did we even get any announcements yesterday? I think we got some posts from the Pons ecosystem. Let's have a look. Let's stick this here. Good post by Bonk Guy. Take profits. Don't be loyal to your bags. Be loyal to yourself. Pretty good post that. Let's have a look. Pons. Yeah, I mean, it's great to see $1.75 billion of volume, but we need to see V2. We need an update on that. I think people are going to throw in the towel here if we don't see it today. I think people will throw in the towel. I don't know what I want to do. I don't think I'm going to throw in the towel. I think I feel like at this level, I'm more likely to want to buy more if it goes down here than throw in the towel if there's no announcement today. If there's no announcement today, I do think it's going to drop. We're going to retest this level here, probably this wick down. And then maybe I get an entry back to where my average cost was, but it's too at that market cap, it's too cheap here. I think that's just how I'm viewing it. I think it's too cheap, and like I said, haven't really been trading this as a flip it in a day, move on to the next thing kind of thing. I've been trading it on it approaching its fair value. But, you know, this area here, 15, 14, 10, as long as it keeps doing these numbers, let's have a look. I mean, the revenues are a bit lower because people aren't launching on Pons, but it starts to get quite cheap. But like, I hear you. They need to, you know, still 66 ETH for buybacks, 62% share of fees yesterday, but that's not because any of the new launch pads have taken market share. It's because CashCat had massive volume yesterday. So Noxa, which is shut down, is taking fees. So, you know, and the launch share has gone down a lot. That's now 38%, but that's because people are waiting for V2, I think. So I'm forever the optimist. I'm always giving people second chances to my demise or to my benefit. Who time will tell. But as long as this number is below 1, I just think it's a good buy. I still think it's a good, or at least I think it's a hold. And I think I'm gonna, yeah, if this drops to 14 or 15 or 10, so long as I'm not asleep, I'm probably likely to add some. And then, and I think it could, to be clear, I think it could retest around. If there's no announcement today on V2, I would not be surprised if we approach these levels. I'm just saying it like it is. I've got a big bag in it, right? Did own 100k of it. I don't know how much it's worth now. 80k, 90k, 82k. So, yeah, I think my game plan is I'm going to wait for V2 because I still think if you see a V2, it's going to go higher. And then we'll start to see that all those market share and revenue numbers go higher, and then it goes a lot higher again. If we don't have an announcement today, I think it's going to be quite a bit lower, to the point where I think it looks extremely cheap. Like, there's a point where it looks cheap even if there's no V2, right? You see what I mean? Like, there's no V2 right now, and they're still generating some revenue. So there's a point where it looks crazy cheap even without a V2, and that's a good place to buy. I guess why don't we run the numbers on that? So, where am I? Ponds tracker. So right now it's doing. Well, we can see I think this annualized revenue comes from the last 7 days. I can't read this small print. I believe it comes from the last 7 days, but this is without V2. This is a non-V2 number. So let's say, with a couple more days of 2 or 3 more days without V2, this number drops to like $20 million annualized revenue. If the market cap drops to 10, that number becomes 0.5. That's, I think, probably one of the cheapest it's ever been. If it drops to 5, that number becomes 0.25, which is just like kind of crazy. Can you analyze these numbers? Yeah, that's the other question. But this is already cheap as it stands, right? This is 0.8 versus 3.5. So the market is already telling you that it doesn't believe in this. So I think if this drops to like 0.5, I think that's a buy. And anything below that, I would be inclined to add. 0.5 is 10. If it drops to $10 million market cap, I think I would like to buy there based on that, because then one of two things happens, right? This drops to 10. So no V2 gets announced today. This drops to whatever, somewhere between 10 and 15 is my guess. I then buy that dip. And then there's one of two things that can happen. Either they eventually launch V2 and we go higher, or and that ends up being a good buy and I'll make a lot of money, and it does well, and then it does well and people start looking at this table again, and then it reprices, or they just don't launch it, and they got well, or they just don't launch it and they just stick with V1, and if these numbers persist, it's still really cheap. But obviously, if they don't ever launch it, I'm guessing it would lose market share to some of the other players. So, when you ride it from here to here, you just feel I'm waiting for this V2 thing. Like, I'm having fucking dreams about V2 at this rate. You just want to throw in the towel and get out of it. But I think you have to consider the levels, and for me, yeah, I mean, could I have sold it here after the news? Could I have sold it here at $25 million market cap and then bought it back here? Absolutely. But I didn't know if they're going to launch V2 here or here or here or here or here. I don't know that. And if they do, then I would have missed out on that. So I'm not trying to trade it in between now and V2. And the only thing I think I would do is buy it lower. There's going to get to a point where even I will lose patience, but I think I'm more patient than most people. And when you're looking for opportunities, there's shit that's moving up all the time, and you're like, fuck, do I buy this thing that's already up 300% in a day? Do I top last this? You're always trying to figure things out rather than looking for opportunities like this, where it's like, oh, this is down and it has a catalyst, has a real catalyst, and the numbers are there. And the only reason why it's down is because people have lost patience. Is that an opportunity? And in my lens, that is an opportunity. So the invalidation for me, I think would be if they came out to say there was another delay or something like that. Then I think I'd just be like, okay. It's the sort of thing where if they came out and said there was another delay or it's going to take multiple days or something like that, it feels like you want to sell and then you'll have an opportunity to buy back lower. But it all just depends on if you're there or not, you know? Like if I had seen that original headline and the price was here, I would have sold it, right? But by the time I saw it, the price was there. So then it's like, okay, let's wait and see. I think I see a few people asking why has it taken a long time to launch V2. I don't know. My guess is the auditing. When I put this into, I put it into Claude. I put in their exact announcement into Claude, and I said, what needs to change? How long will this take to fix? And it did say a few days, and I asked this on Friday when it was paused, right? And so it's been a few days. It's been 2 to 3 days of the weekend. And the reason why it said it would take a while, I'll see if I can find the response for you guys. The reason why it said it can take a while was because of audits. You know, they have to, if that, it would likely, the fixer would likely have to get re-audited. It's not that the fix itself was hard. It's just the fix has to go through audits, and obviously they want to launch the stuff with it being audited. So that's my guess. I think that's why it's taking longer. And could the communication from the team be better? I think so. Yeah, it would be nice to, you know, if he made an announcement saying the fixes are done, we're waiting for the audits, it should take this long. Once they're done, we're going to get going. And if there was more communication every day, you know, constant communication, I don't think we'd be where we are now. I think people who are trying to be patient would still hold on. But it's kind of like the lack of communication and the dubious posts, etc., that I think has probably rubbed people the wrong way. Now, that could also be a tactic, you know. It can be a tactic. Who knows? No one ever really knows what's going on in people's heads. But there's so much gamesmanship and tactics than I think people give credit for in these types of projects and these types of coins and crypto in general. And you know, it's like, okay, let's be ambiguous about it. Let's let people sell. Let's accumulate supply, and then let's get the announcement out, and then, you know, boom, let's go. Like, these guys have all the information. So I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I don't know, but I'm just saying anything that you see, you have to assume gamesmanship. Always assume gamesmanship. You know, I'm always trying to figure out what the plan is. What are people trying to do? These things, like what's the game theory behind certain actions, behind teams, behind what people post? Because all these guys are thinking about stuff. They're all doing stuff. And who knows? Like, you know, that can go both ways. The game theory could also be like, hey, let's fucking keep posting ambiguous things while we just sell a coin, and then let's say we couldn't do it, and then, you know, it's all over. That's one outcome of it. I hope that's not the outcome that happens. I don't think it's the outcome that happens by any means, but these are all the different scenarios, right? But yeah, for me, for now, hold on. Hold on. Start to average in 10 to 15 market cap. That would lower my average cost. And then hope we get an announcement or a launch of V2, and then watch the numbers. I still do believe the revenues will increase substantially. Also, remember, one of the changes of V2 is that they actually receive stables or ETH as revenues rather than just tokens as revenues, and these guys haven't been dumping tokens. It's another thing that shows me that they're potentially good actors, because they could have just dumped all the tokens they're getting, and they're not. I know we had the founder on the show, and I thought he answered my questions honestly, but I think we continue, and then we see what happens. And then, you know, after, if I have to average down and We get another delay, or we still don't get anything for whatever, I don't know how long, 2 or 3 days or longer, then I would just be inclined to exit and move on. But I just, like, at the end of the day, a lot of Robinhood coins were up yesterday, and this is still the number one launchpad by market share, and it's at a $17 million market cap. I still think this is a very good proxy for the Robinhood chain growing. Yes, some coins have outperformed and moved, but they're always at the risk of being vamped or attention share losing. These guys have market share risk as well, but there's going to be, let me tell you something, there's going to be way more coins launched than launchpads launched, right? And the competition for coins and meme coins is much greater than the competition for launchpads, just by virtue of numbers, absolute numbers. So I still think this is a good proxy for Robinhood chain. And, you know, like I said yesterday, if I sold this now at $17 million market cap and they announced it today, I would be pissed. I would rather average down and they rug and I was rolling it and I lose money. I'd rather that than miss out on what I think could be a much bigger trade if they do it and get it over the line. But I'm in the frustration camp with all of you guys for sure. Don't get me wrong. Just because if they had, you know, on that day, if they had launched that and it had gone well, we would be all the way here, I think. You know, probably even higher. Probably be. I would have. There's no reason why this can't approach 100 million if they get all their marbles together. So yeah, let's be patient. Let's wait and see. Give people a chance. You know, you don't make money by not believing in people. You make a lot of money by believing in people. Not everyone is going to do you proud all the time, but you have to believe in people to pull things off to get the wins. If you don't, then, you know, what's the point? And if you're not playing stuff like this where there is an opportunity to buy something on a dip and it has a positive catalyst and it has everything there, it's just lacking that final piece, that one little piece. And if that happens, then it goes higher. So I think on that basis, and this primarily has been a session for me to convince myself to keep holding, on that basis, I'm still going. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I think that's it for me today. I had a look around more crypto stuff. Nothing really. Oh man, stocks are ripping. Stocks are absolutely ripping. Let's have a look. Sandisk up to 1430. Micron approaching 900. I don't think SpaceX is, or Tesla, quite doing the same thing. Where's SpaceX? Well, 120-ish. Memory is strong. Please, South Korea, guys, just don't shit yourself tomorrow. There's no need to shit yourself. Everything's okay. Right? The US is buying. Sandisk are going to have good numbers. Everyone's going to come back and buy it. Even the ADR is up 6% today. Just all you guys need to do is not shit yourselves. Just don't come into the markets tomorrow. Don't do anything tomorrow. Let the foreigners buy, because foreigners will be buying this. You are the guys who are selling it versus foreigners buying it. Just don't shit yourself, guys. Don't shit yourself, and it will be okay. Because this is due a correction. I think this is due a big correction. We'd already had a big correction. We had a 30% move, but this is still due a much bigger correction, in my opinion. This is down more from the all-time highs than Micron is, but they're very similar makeups in companies. Actually, SK Hynix has a higher market share than Micron. These are the guys that have a partnership with NVIDIA as well. You know, these are the main guys in memory. I just think this should change and correct, and I feel like it's coming. So yeah, good. 10%, 11% up on Sandisk now. That was a good trade. That's the best trade I've done in a long time. Like just pure spot up 40+% on that. Pretty nice. I'll get a post out about that. Tom asks, any thoughts on crypto being a bit weak over the last 2 days of strength in stocks? I think crypto has really lost correlation to stocks, and that's been the case for a while. It's worth noting that on that entire move lower in stocks, crypto has completely outperformed it. Like, we had a big backup in the Nasdaq, right? Typically speaking, when you see that, you would see Bitcoin move a lot lower, whereas it's kind of been in this. The Nasdaq moved a lot lower around here, right, towards the end of July, and we've just been in like a 62 to 65k range. Even despite that, even the lows here, we didn't fall below 62k. So, crypto outperformed stocks in that drop, and now it's underperforming stocks in that build up, which kind of makes sense. I do think we saw some weakness last week because MicroStrategy sold just over $100 million of Bitcoin. Are they selling again this week? I don't know. We don't see that announcement until Monday, but that could be another reason why it's a bit heavy. But this is, I mean, just look at the price of Bitcoin. It's barely moved now for since the beginning of July. It's barely moved now for a month, and I think we're just going to see more of this. I don't mind seeing more of this because it creates a lot of opportunity elsewhere in on-chain stuff. But then, if this did move a lot higher, I think the on-chain stuff we all own would rally. But yeah, I think we just see more chop because, sometimes it just feels like the only person trading this is Michael Saylor. But that's that. I think crypto is not correlated to stocks, and I think because it outperformed on the move down, it's underperforming on the move up. That's the only reason for that. I think we can call it. We can call it a day there. I'm excited to see SpaceX earnings today. I'm more excited for Sandisk earnings because memory is a bigger position for me. And I'm excited to see Pons V2 if we can fucking get that out as well. So yeah, three big things to look forward to over the next few days. Over the next 2 days, really. I mean, not even 2 days, isn't it? Over the next 1 day, SpaceX tonight. Over the next 36 hours, there's three big things. I want to see Pons V2 over the next 36 hours. So, if we don't, then it's going to be game on for squeaky bum time. So, going to be. I feel like yesterday was a little bit quiet. Today is sort of like the calm before what happens, even though we're seeing some big moves out there. And I think the next 36 hours are going to be interesting for the book. So, for everyone, for anyone in similar trades to me, good luck, and let's see what happens. We've had an okay start to the week. I would like to, if I go back to that nav that I have here, I feel like we can retest this all-time high nav number, and then I think that's where I should be taking some chips off. But it does feel like if I get this memory trade right, I should have if I get both memory and Pons right, we should be able to make some solid six-figure P&L. Maybe 150 to 200k if both of them come off. If one of them come off, then who knows? Depends how much they move. But yeah, if I could just get the trifecta of SpaceX, memory, and Pons, if I could just get those three guys to pull their fingers out this week, that would be very nice. I think then we can have a pretty big week, and then I think we can try and monetize some of that, which I haven't done well at, and then just get this number back to where it was at the beginning. But yeah, with that, let's call it a day. I'll see you guys in the Discord, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time again, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Some big hours and days ahead of us. So everyone lock in and good luck. We will see what happens. Cheers, everyone.